Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Τα προγράμματά μας προσφέρονται σε πολλές γλώσσες. Παρακαλούμε δείτε suprememastertv.com/schedule.
She wanted to do something useful. She wanted to serve. She was determined to heed God's call of nursing the sick and helpless. The Lady with the Lamp, Florence Nightingale, founder of modern nursing. Continue watching to find out more.
Saudações, iluminados espectadores, means greetings, enlightened viewers in Portuguese. I'm Lucia. With joy and admiration, the sincere people of the autonomous region of Madeira wish that you may continuously thrive in God's wisdom and divine embrace. Welcome to the Lady with the Lamp, Florence Nightingale, founder of modern nursing. Florence Nightingale, affectionately called the Lady with the Lamp, was an exceedingly compassionate nurse who reformed healthcare. She funded a hospital and nurse training school and wrote over 200 books and articles on health-related issues. Named after her birthplace, the city of Florence, Italy, Florence Nightingale was born in 1820 to upper-class British parents. The family moved back to England a year later. A governess initially attended to young Florence Nightingale and her sister's education. Later, the girls were homeschooled by their father. Their curriculum covered mathematics, philosophy, history, and linguistics. Under his tuition, Florence learned the rudiments of Latin and Greek, attained fluency in English, French, German, and Italian, and excelled in mathematics and written essay assignments. A naturally gifted academic, Florence Nightingale applied herself to a broad range of research, inspired by the work of acclaimed Belgian statistician, mathematician, and sociologist Adolphe Quetelet. She also studied statistics. Young Florence was a shy, intelligent girl with a radiant smile and a tender, sympathetic disposition. She wrote, "Nothing makes my heart thrill like the voice of birds." Fond of flowers, birds, and pets, she rescued a juvenile owl from torment while on holiday in Athens, Greece, and nursed a neighbor's dog back to health. At 18, while holidaying with her parents in France, Italy, and Switzerland, Florence Nightingale was fascinated by the fine art, architecture, and scenic beauty of these countries. She made notes in her diary, recording facts, numbers, and observations, particularly with respect to people and their way of life there. This practice of taking notes and recording facts became very useful to her throughout her life. Social standing, family expectations, and grooming dictated that she marry well and move in circles within her social class. However, Florence Nightingale would have none of it. Making small talk and indulging in frivolities were not for her. She wanted to do something useful. She wanted to serve. She was determined to heed God's call of nursing the sick and the helpless. The first of 4 calls from God came when she was 17. Entries in Florence Nightingale's diary revealed,
God called me in the morning and asked me, would I do good for him alone without reputation?
Florence Nightingale's parents ruled that a nursing career was not befitting of her social class, but as time passed, her determination to care for the sick and afflicted grew increasingly firmer. She wrote this entry in her diary on June 22nd, 1846.
The longer I live, the more I feel as if all my being was gradually drawing to one point, and if I could be permitted to return and accomplish that in another being, if I may not in this, I should need no other heaven.
This was followed with,
I am 30, the age at which Christ began his mission. Now there will be no more childish things, no more vain things, no more love, no more marriage. Now, Lord, let me only think of thy will.
Divinely inspired and strongly motivated, Florence Nightingale would ultimately fulfill her dream to serve humanity in her best possible way. As she said,
Mankind must make heaven before we can go to heaven, in this world as in any other.
let us pray for the well-being of our planet. We shall continue the story of Florence Nightingale, British nurse, statistician, and social reformer after this short interval here on Supreme Master Television. Welcome back to the Lady with the Lamp, Florence Nightingale, founder of modern nursing. When Florence Nightingale was 31 years old, she traveled to Kaiserswerth, Germany, with her mother and ill sister, who was going there to undergo water treatments. During her 3-month stay in Germany, she took up a nursing course at the Kaiserswerther Lutheran Hospital of Pastor Fliedner. Subsequently, with her mother's approval, she furthered her nursing training with the Daughters of Charity of Saint Vincent de Paul in Paris, France, in 1852. Returning to England, she accepted a position as superintendent of the Institute for the Care of Sick Gentlewomen in London. With her exceptional skills and passion, Florence Nightingale began to make her mark in this field. 1 year later, she left the institute to begin a new phase in her life. During a conflict in 1854, British troops were faced with a lack of medical supplies, overcrowded facilities, and unsanitary conditions. Cholera, dysentery, and diarrhea afflicted them while there was a shortage of doctors and the numbers of wounded continued to mount. Tasked by the minister Sidney Herbert, Florence Nightingale agreed to superintend a government-sponsored team of nurses to remedy the situation. Her grace and selflessness soon became known to the general public as British press began praising her mission. As an article by The Times said,
"There is not one of England's proudest and purest daughters who at this moment stands on so high a pinnacle as Florence Nightingale."
Arriving in November that same year, Florence Nightingale and her group of 38 courageous nurses stationed at the Barak Hospital at Scutari in Constantinople. Conditions were far worse than the team had anticipated. Florence Nightingale utilized her personal funds to purchase much-needed supplies. She diligently worked late into the night, carrying a lamp in the evenings as she tended to patient after patient, earning her the nickname Lady with the Lamp. The Times wrote,
"She is a ministering angel, and as her slender form glides quietly along each corridor, every poor fellow's face softens with gratitude at the sight of her. When all the medical officers have retired for the night, and silence and darkness have settled down upon these miles of prostrate sick, she may be observed alone, with a little lamp in her hand, making her solitary rounds."
Unfortunately, during her service, Florence Nightingale became afflicted with a lifelong debilitating illness, but the determined nurse continued her work. She launched a robust nursing care program to ensure clean wards, individual patient attention, and well-stocked medical supplies and food. She set up reading and recreation rooms to cater to the patient's mental and spiritual needs and started holding classes. Under her instructions, a kitchen was implemented to prepare foods for those with special dietary needs. She also gave recommendations and statistics analyzing complex organizational and health issues. With Florence Nightingale's strictly imposed guidance, the situation greatly improved, and in 6 months it was reported that the mortality rate had been decreased from 40% to a modest 2%. It was a monumental achievement. Florence Nightingale became a cultural icon. Speaking of Florence Nightingale's success, English writer Lytton Strachey wrote,
"It was by strict method, by stern discipline, by rigid attention to detail, by ceaseless labor, and by the fixed determination of an indomitable will."
Upon her return home, Florence Nightingale vigorously campaigned for reform in healthcare and nursing. Her healthcare data presented to the monarch of England in 1856 resulted in the establishment of a royal commission to improve the health of the British Army. In 1858, she was the first woman to become a member of the Royal Statistical Society. The year after that, she helped set up an army medical college in Chatham. She also published notes on nursing, what it is and what it is not. The book addresses good nursing practices and safe hospital environments. It states,
"The very first canon of nursing is this, to keep the air he breathes as pure as the external air without chilling him."
In 1860, Florence Nightingale opened the Nightingale School of Nursing at St. Thomas's Hospital in London. Its success led to the birth of the modern nursing profession. Similar nursing schools were established around the world, modeled on her principles. These included the Sydney Infirmary and Dispensary in Australia in 1868, the Bellevue Training School for Nurses in New York, the United States, in 1873, and a nursing school in Fuzhou, China, in 1888. She also helped establish a training regimen for midwives and nurses in workhouse infirmaries. Florence Nightingale devoted her last 5 decades to sanitary reform and helped revolutionize female education and healthcare. In 1907, she became the first woman awarded the Order of Merit. Even as she aged, her energy remained inexhaustible. Florence Nightingale passed away in 1910 at the age of 90. To honor her pioneering spirit and her significant contributions to the medical world, International Nurses Day has been celebrated annually since 1965 on May 12, her birthday. The Florence Nightingale Museum at St. Thomas's Hospital in London reopened in May 2010 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Florence Nightingale's passing. Indeed, the Lady with the Lamp accomplished much and lived her life to the fullest for a good and noble cause. As she said, there is so much to live for. Cherished viewers, thank you for your company on today's program. Coming up next is Wondrous Nature's Gift, Holy Lotus, Part 1 of 3, right after Noteworthy News here on Supreme Master Television. May heaven fill your days with joy, and may the love and peace of God be with you always.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/MOS